If it's in the dictionary, it must be clean, right? Well, an elementary school parent didn't think so. Look closely, and you'll see why. And wait till you hear what the school did after she complained. Last week we asked you, is this news? Do you want to see car chases on TV? You will not believe the overwhelming response. And meet the president. The world champion Lakers get a world-class honor at the White House. Then Mr. Obama admits the Lakers aren't exactly his favorite team. All the stories you're talking about and everything you need to know right now on The Filter. Hello again on The Filter Forefront. Our top 4 of the day including, why don't we just build a jail in Mexico and send all the prisoners there? But we'll start with this. Now, I think we can all agree that some books are inappropriate for kids. Some content is simply not suitable. But the dictionary is not appropriate for kids? In Riverside County, the Menifee United School District pulled every copy of Merriam-Webster's dictionary from its schools because one parent complained the term oral sex was in it. They pulled the dictionary because of sexually graphic content. By the way, how would you know if you weren't specifically looking for it? One person complained. Does that mean you'll rip the dictionaries out of every school? Our contributors joining us via Skype, activist and actress Debra Skelton, and the editor of RonKLA.com. Ron K. Ron, I'm going to start with you. You were the editor of the Daily News. Do you think it's a good idea that the school district is just yanking dictionaries out of classrooms?
It's pretty laughable. You know, you can just imagine all the kids going home and asking mommy and daddy if they engage in oral sex that we learned at school today. I can remember when I was a kid, I mean, at that age, at 10, 11, we would pour through the dictionary looking for all those words about sex and giggle a lot, you know. I mean, nothing like calling attention to it, which has the exact opposite effect that you want. Instead of treating it as normal, natural, and not so taboo and scary and frightening. You know, you can't burn books and you can't destroy ideas.
Deb, go ahead.
I think this is absolutely ridiculous. The fact that one parent feels like they have that control, and not only that, but they actually do have that control simply because a school system works in fear, and not only in fear, frighteningly enough, in the depth of ignorance. I just, you know what? It boggles the mind to think that a parent who takes no responsibility over teaching their children, having a bond with their child and their community, does nothing about it, and yet expects a whole school community to do something about a simple phrase in the dictionary, which still would have to be explained. I actually went to the dictionary online and looked up what exactly they had written. And what was written for someone that age, where they would still want to ask questions as opposed to knowing specifically and graphically what it actually represents and means. And I think it's perfect for the dictionary to be able to have that there so a child can go, what exactly does this phrase mean? It wasn't explained explicitly. It was explained in a phrase that still requires an explanation.
Look,
that's where parent steps in. And if you don't step in, don't blame the school system. Blame your own ignorance.
Well, and I think that's probably a very valid point. I mean, I understand parents' concern. I get it. I have kids. I understand how that works.
No, I don't get it.
But you know what?
I don't get it. No.
But you can't,
where does that come from, Fred?
No. You want to do the job at home of preparing your kids. You want to talk to your kids. But you do not take the dictionary out of a classroom because you think there are dirty words in it. I mean, it is boggling to think about it. And the
what's
school
next?
district,
Do you burn your computer?
Well, exactly. I mean, what do you do next? I mean, and the school district really needs to look very hard at this decision, and I believe reconsider. Okay, let's move on.
Shame on them.
All right. You know, California prisons are overcrowded. Federal judges have ruled conditions are so bad, they want prisoners released back into society. You also know the prison budget is bloated. So what to do? Governor has an idea. What do you say? Everybody to Mexico. He's talking about housing California inmates out of state before, but here's the new idea. Pay Mexico to build prisons and then ship prisoners that are illegal immigrants to the South. The governor says half the price to build the prisons, half the cost to run them. Deborah, do you think it's a good idea to say adios to the bad guys?
First of all, I think Arnold Schwarzenegger makes a better actor than he does a governor, and I think he makes a better bodybuilder than he does an actor. But I digress. The bottom line is I think it's ridiculous. California right now has the idea, the impending idea, that it's going bankrupt. The state of California, let alone Los Angeles itself, with the impending idea that it might go bankrupt, is ridiculous to think that anything is going to be solved by actually taking money from citizens in California and building a prison in Mexico. How about keeping the prisoners there a little bit longer here in the United States? import them back to Mexico, and let them be Mexico's problems. We have enough problems with over 6,500 people being released today. It's insane to think that we can handle that population. It's already been proven that we can't. What are we doing giving money to Mexico in order for them to build a prison system that fails us here?
Ron?
Hey, I think you're way off on this one, Deborah. I think that if we had any rationality or immigration policy, we would know every single person living in this country, and we would decide which ones we want and which ones we don't want, and they'd all have identifications. We'd have a lengthy process where there were penalties, where people could get on the right track, and criminals, we don't want criminals in this country, and I don't know why they weren't shipped back originally and made Mexico's problem. They shouldn't have been here. They committed crimes serious enough to be sent to state prisons, and we're buried. It's not 6,500. That's just the first wave. There'll probably be 40,000 prisoners released, and most of them, they call them low level, but most of these people were thugs of serious crimes, and the system settled for whatever they could get to send them off to prison for a while. And we're headed into serious law enforcement problems over this, and we have to get rid of these people who don't belong in America in the first place, commit crimes here, let Mexico deal with them, and there's utterly no reason not to get them out of this country.
All right, now Deborah talked about money, and that's an issue. The city budget is a mess.